Okay, besides just giving you a set of data points, one way that we can also look at a set of data points is through a box and whiskers plot. And what that is the way of showing the range of the data among the quartiles. So here's what it looks like. You start with your minimum and your maximum points, okay? Then you find your median point and you graph it. And so what you'll have is you'll have a number line here below it somehow. And so you'll graph minimum and maximum. You'll graph your median, your middle point, and then you graph your quartile, upper quartile, and your lower quartile, okay? And when you do that, you kind of box in this middle area here, okay? And so what we've done, however we've done this, is we've split this basically into 4 sections. When you split it by the median, okay, you split it into 50. But then we split half of that with the upper quartile. So we have 25% of our numbers are here, 25% of our numbers are here. Same thing down here. When you find your median, you split this into the bottom half, but then we split that bottom half in half again. So we end up with 25% here and 25% here. So it's just a way for us to represent how the numbers have been arranged. So 25% up here, then 25%, 25%, and then 25%. Okay? And what it helps you see is that sometimes you'll have a larger range up here, or you'll have a larger range down here, or somewhere in the middle. And so it just kind of gives you an idea of how widespread your numbers are and really where the core of your numbers are coming from. Okay, so we're going to look at these 2 examples down here. We have A and we have B. So notice that we are on a range of 40 to 100. So let's say these are grades, okay, for a class. So what we end up with here is that in A, the lowest grade, the minimum, was a 50. The maximum grade was a 100. The median grade, the middle, was 70. Now, we don't know how many grades we're dealing with here, but we do know the general information that we've been given. So median number is 70. Well, the halfway point between the 70 and the 100, so the upper half, the median number was 80. But the median of the lower was 65. Okay, so this is showing us a little bit more about these values. Now, if we look at B, the lowest point is 40. The highest was 100. The median was still 70. Okay, so the highest and the median were the same on A and B. Then the quartile for the upper quartile was going to be 85, and then the lower quartile is 60. Okay, so that's just a little bit of how to read this box and whisker plot. Okay. So if we look at that, the first question we're going to look for is what is the median of each set? Well, the median of A is 70. It's that middle point. And the median of B is also 70. Okay, so that much we know. Which plot has a lesser range? So if we look at range, remember range is maximum minus minimum. Okay, so in A, we have 100 minus 50, which is 50. And in B, we have 100 maximum minus 40 minimum, which is 60. So the one with the lesser range is going to be A. A has the lesser range. Okay? Then we look at which plot has the greater interquartile range. Okay, so greater interquartile range. So that's where we take that third quartile and we subtract the first quartile from it. So in A, let's see, the third quartile or the upper quartile is going to be 80. And the lower is 65, which gives us 15 when we subtract them. And then B, we have 85, and the lower is 60, which also gives us 15. Sorry, gives us 25. I apologize. So the greater of those, 15 and 25, is going to be B. B has the larger or an interquartile range. Okay, then we move to the next question. You might see a question that says, what is the upper quartile of each set? Well, the upper quartile for each set is going to be these 2 points. So for A, it is 80, and for B, it is 85. Okay? Excuse me. The lower extreme of each set. So remember, lower extreme is your minimum point. So minimum for A is 50, and minimum for B is 40. Okay. Then we can move to what percent of the data in plot B is between 60 and 85. So we're looking at plot B between 60 and 85. So if you look here, this is inside the box. So from quartile 1 to quartile 3, so from the interquartile range here, is 25 and 25. So 50% of the data falls between that. So the percent of the data there is 50%. Okay. Then we look for the percent of the data in plot A that's greater than 80. So if we look at A here, here's 80. This is the upper quartile. And from 80 to 100, okay, from the upper quartile to the maximum is 25% of the data. And that's what we're looking at here. So we are looking at 25% of the data. All right, and then the last question that we have is what percent of the data in plot B is less than 85? So here is 85 on plot B, okay? So we're looking at less than that. So this is a chunk of 25, this is a chunk of 25%, and this is a chunk of 25%. So numbers that are less than 85 on this graph represents 75% of the data.